you did the podcast studio, but did you need the photographer?
No,
Okay. No, not the
doing
photographer.
this, I'm like meeting all the photographers in Delaware at this point.
I could imagine.
It's fun though. It's an interesting journey. I've never. Well, I'll save it for.
I was going to say, yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about
So I
that.
said I don't have no problem talking.
Welcome back to Steeltoes to Stilettos, everybody. This is the podcast where we celebrate women and men who are pushing through pressure, perseverance, and purpose and finding a way to rebuild. Tonight's conversation, tonight's episode, I am really excited about because we're talking about something that affects everyone. It affects family, it affects community, and it affects the future. And that's land ownership and legacy. My guest today is Miss Lissa Brutus, Miss Delaware Black USA. Clap it up. And she is one of the few Black women in the USA who holds a commercial real estate appraisal license. And we're going to get into a little bit of that later, and we're going to find out what that all entails, right? Okay. But what makes Lissa more powerful is how she's using her expertise and her own crown to shed and spotlight generational wealth, real estate, equity, and what it really means to build something that lasts right here in our state, Delaware. Miss Lissa Brutus is Miss Black Delaware USA 2026, which I already mentioned, a leader in commercial real estate appraisal, and an advocate for land ownership, generational wealth. As one of the few Black women in the United States holding a commercial appraisal license, Lissa is using her platform through ownership, equality, and legacy to build across Delaware. Now, here is the exciting part. We get to find out who Lissa is. Everybody, welcome Miss Lissa to the couch.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I got through that. I was all tongue-tied in there, but I got through it. But yes, welcome to Steeltoes to Stilettos.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, who is Lissa? I just ran down a little, quick bio, but tell us who Miss Lissa is.
I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am a board member of many boards. I love volunteering as well as educating specifically the Black community on commercial real estate. Our community is not as involved as other communities are, even in the areas that we predominantly occupy. So that was kind of one of the catalysts for me moving in that direction of wanting to educate our community, getting them to feel more comfortable with the idea of owning commercial real estate. And yeah, that's pretty much where I spend most of my time. Most of my free time is finding new ways to educate the community or volunteering in some way. I just love my community. So anything around community, that's me.
That's you. Okay. So tell us, what does it mean to hold the title Miss Black Delaware USA 2026?
I'm honored. The title gives me a platform to be able to share my message. It puts me in a lot of rooms that I otherwise would not have been in or even felt comfortable in. So sometimes I'll go to events and I'll be nervous. I'll have my crown on, my sash on, and I kind of try to sneak in, and it forces me to be in the spotlight. It forces me to be confident when someone walks up to me to ask me, "Oh, you're Miss Black Delaware. What does that entail? What's your platform?" And I've been practicing kind of delivering what my message is. So that's what it's done for me.
Tell us your message. Let's practice right now. Let's hear it.
My platform, Land and Legacy, is based on teaching the Black community how to steward land, feel comfortable purchasing commercial real estate, and building that generational wealth. A lot of times people think of homes, but even in our community, we don't pass on homes. The next generation usually just sells it without a plan. You'll get the cash, but there'll be no plan. And I want to encourage our community to start thinking ahead, start planning ahead, because other communities, they're teaching their children how to invest. If they sell that house, there's a plan after they sell the house to take that money and make more money, not to buy depreciating assets. And we don't have those conversations. And for a lot of reasons, a lot of historical reasons, we're not privy to that information. And it wasn't until I was really in the industry, being in appraisals, that I realized that this is information that other communities pass on to their kids. These are regular conversations that they're having with them. How to set up an estate, how to make sure when you set up that estate that you have restrictions on that estate. Like your child has to accomplish certain things in order to get this amount of money. If we know about setting up estates, we don't think about that part. And we have to remember, I try to remember, that children have their own personalities, right? You can do whatever you want, but they're going to grow up to be whoever they are. So that's kind of one of the places in estate planning that we as a community don't think about. Because you could say, I want to leave this property for my child, and when they turn 25, their frontal lobes have developed, so now they can handle it. But if that's not really that child or that person, you should kind of tailor the plan around, okay, 25, I don't know if you're going to get it at 25, maybe 30.
Right.
Or whoever's in charge of that estate,
they get that house at 25 years old, Lord Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Ain't no telling what might happen to the property.
Exactly.
Or to the estate at 25 years old.
Exactly.
Still not really mature enough to make the right decisions at 25 years old. You know what I mean?
But you could have a kid that is.
But you could have a kid that is, but is this a good plan to make sure you tailor it just in case?
Right.
Just in case. So the property stays there. The estate stays there.
Exactly.
No one loses it, because I was just having a conversation with my brother, with my grandmother's estate. You know, it's going. And it could still be right here in our family right now.
Exactly. Because a lot of times people only look at property at what you can get from it now. You're not looking at the income that you could be getting every month if you sell it. I mean, if you rent it, right? So seeing a 6-figure check, unfortunately, a lot of times in our community, that's the biggest money people see in their lives. So you're seeing that $100,000 and you're thinking, okay, this is going to change my life. But if you haven't been taught how to manage money properly, you're going to be irresponsible. You might go out and buy a TV. You might buy a brand new car. But one of the places that I saw that very often is Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. A lot of developers were going up there and just purchasing these beautiful brownstones that weren't really appreciated when we were owning it. But now that people that get priced out of Manhattan, kind of the bigger boroughs, and they're looking for someplace to live, it made sense to developers to start finding spaces in Brooklyn for cheap. So they would go to these families, they would offer $100,000. They don't know to get an appraisal. They don't know to figure out how much is the property actually worth. Because even if it's falling apart, it's the land that has the value. You can knock that house down and the land under it could be worth $1 million. But if you don't know to go look for that value, again, you'll take that 6 figures. You'll buy your car. You'll buy your TV.
And it sounds like a lottery ticket.
It does sound like a lottery ticket. And a lot of times people who win the lottery end up broke because they don't have a plan. And in those instances, you spend your money up front and you've never rented because you've lived at grandma's house. Your parents never rented. They lived at grandma's house, right? So now you're out in the world and you find out the hard way that rent is $3,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment in New York.
And you don't realize how fast money can go. You know what I mean?
The easiest money to spend is the money you don't earn.
Now, speaking of New York, you are originally not from here.
Yeah.
What brought you to Delaware?
Work. I got an amazing opportunity. I actually came to Delaware by way of Philadelphia. So I was working in Philadelphia for a couple of years, and then I was offered an opportunity at a bank here, and I took it. I didn't really know much about Delaware.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know anything about Delaware.
How long have you been here?
Since 2020. I moved 2 weeks before COVID.
Oh, my goodness. Everybody welcome Miss Lissa to Delaware. She is fairly new to Delaware. Fairly new. I mean, it's 2026 now, but I'll still say you're pretty much new here.
I'm okay with that. I love Delaware.
Welcome. I love that you're here.
I love being here. This is
Really?
I love it here.
Do you?
I do.
What do you love about Delaware? Tell us.
This is such a peaceful place. It's so grounding.
One thing about Delaware is quiet and peaceful, especially coming from New York.
Yes. New York is
Crazy.
for me personally
Fast.
chaotic.
Chaotic.
It's very chaotic.
Noisy.
It's
loud.
it's not really the noise, it's the energy. It's very much a place of survival. Everybody there is surviving, even if they don't notice it, just because you have to make your money stretch there. And you could be making six figures in Delaware and you can breathe. And in New York, $100,000 is not going to get you far. You're still struggling. Yeah. And I thought that was absurd when I lived there, so I left.
Right. So now you're pouring into the community. What you got here, you said, this is where I'm at, so I might as well just start pouring into this community because I'm ready to make it home.
I was raised like that. My mom very much encouraged civic engagement. Like, if I came home and I didn't vote, she would put me back in the car and take me to go vote. I would say that's one of the advantages of being Haitian American for me, is understanding how the government worked was a necessity in my house, because we understand how easily your government can fall apart and everything else around you. Because even moving to Philadelphia, for a split second, I had like a little panic attack. Like, oh, I'm moving. How am I going to do this? I went to Temple, so it wasn't the first time I've left home, but just the idea of really leaving, I was struggling with it. And then I thought, my mom left her whole country, didn't know the language, and built a whole life for herself. And my dad did the same thing. He came here, valeted cars, and eventually opened up his own medical practice in Brooklyn.
Really?
Yes. So
a medical practice?
Yes, my dad was a doctor. So seeing them do all of that, I'm like, I can move to Philadelphia. It's only 2-hour drive home. Exactly. Like, let me calm down. Yes. And then it made it easier to move to Delaware. So yeah, it's really a lot of the things that I do in terms of volunteering. If you look at my family, it's full of politicians, activists. My dad, even being a doctor, he was a community doctor. He was not a CEO of anything. He was in the neighborhood. He was in Flatbush.
Like grassroots.
And that was what he wanted to do, to our dismay, but he wanted to help the community. So he stayed in Flatbush. He would charge $15 for a physical just so you can go work. So I get that from him. I get that from a lot of the people on both sides of my family.
Right. Yeah. So that's how you were raised. It's in your DNA, to give back.
Absolutely.
Now tell us, what exactly is a commercial real estate appraisal?
So I usually relate back to residential appraisals, because most people will experience a residential appraiser. So when you're going to buy a house, you'll look on your paperwork and it'll say like $600 or $800 for an appraisal. So what an appraiser is you go apply for a loan, and the bank will send out an appraiser to determine the value of that house to make sure whatever money they're lending to you is the house is actually worth that.
Right.
So it's the same thing on the commercial side. Of course, there's different things, like I can do estate work for the government, a whole bunch of different niches that I could do. But the most basic way to describe it is, if you need to understand what the value of a commercial building is, then that's where I come in. So any industrial building, office building, golf courses, literally everything past 4 residential units and up, I've done it.
Why commercial and not residential?
I've always been the type of person to go to the highest of high. So commercial was more of a challenge. It was definitely more money. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to do that. I don't need to go to residential. I'm just going to go straight to the top. Straight to the top.
Mm-hmm. The big dogs, the big league, in the big league. So when did you realize that this lane was, this was the lane that you wanted to pursue?
I graduated college, and it was during the time that the recession was over. But for the people who were graduating college at that time, we understood that as the people who were fired are now being hired. So to everybody else, the economy looked good, but to us, nobody was hiring us. So I graduated with a degree in business and accounting. And being on Long Island, there's not that many accounting firms, and I had no desire to go to Manhattan. So I was looking for different ways to kind of use my degree, my second passion was always real estate.
Okay.
I was addicted to HGTV, so it was definitely a residential thing. But when I learned that I can use my analytical skills in commercial real estate, that was kind of the path that I chose.
Got you. That's interesting.
Thank you.
That's interesting. I feel like there's always a way where you can take this, take one skill and apply it to a whole nother lane. You know what I mean? It's about being creative, being strategic, and then you didn't, voila, found something that you love and something that you're good at, and there's much impact and purpose behind it.
It's literally something I stumbled upon because I'm not going to lie, I didn't know what it was. I applied for a job, I got it, and I learned what an appraiser was while I was doing it.
Now, why is it that there aren't a lot of you, like Black commercial real estate appraisers? Why is that?
It is a result of gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping?
It's a result of gatekeeping, yes. So for a very long time, the appraisal industry was trying to keep people out so that it wouldn't get saturated, which I understand. The problem is a lot of times when industries create ways to gatekeep, they don't foresee the problem ahead, which is when these people age out, who's going to replace them, which is one of the issues we're having in the industry now. The average appraiser is over the age of 60.
Really?
Yes. Not really minorities. It's mostly white men.
Right.
And now they're kind of trying to figure out how to attract people to the field because they kept it so hush-hush for so long that no one really knows about it. That's kind of one of my missions because it's not just appraisals that you don't see people of color. It's also sales. It's also lending. It's every aspect of real estate commercial real estate that you don't see us. For the same reasons, you'll see Black sales residential people all the time, but you don't see it in commercial because people think that commercial is so much harder than residential. Like it's so much scarier. And the truth of the matter is commercial is easier than residential.
Did you run into like any barriers as a Black woman?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very honest about the barriers that I've had to overcome. A lot of times I go to industry events. I look younger than I am, so people assume I don't know what I know.
Yeah.
I've been asked if I can get the coffee because someone thinks I'm somebody's assistant.
They think you to help.
Yep, that happens. That still happens. What else?
I know when people do that. It's like, what are you? But when you could come back at them and be like, "Oh no, baby,"
I always say no, but you can get me one. No, I don't. I don't feel the need to justify who I am. You're gonna know who I am when I speak. So.
But isn't there like a sense of gratitude when they think that they can play you and then you come back and and you could check them like, oh no, baby, I'm a boss.
The checking is in you gonna figure it out. I don't have to tell you. I walk into a room with presence. So for me, I don't feel like I have to explain myself. Because again, once I start speaking, you're gonna figure it out. That's when I get the satisfaction. Seeing their face when I start speaking about something and I'm confident and I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's when I'm like, yeah, that's who I am.
Eat that.
You're welcome. But in terms of barriers, it was everything, even down to my hair. I've had bosses say I look like I put my finger in an electric socket.
No way.
I like your hair the other way. All the things. I've had bosses sexually harass me. I've gone to places where the property contact has sexually harassed me. So there's definitely challenges that I've gone through, but I'm also blessed to have found organizations of other women. Still not as many Black women in those organizations as well, but I'm happy to be that. I'm happy to represent that.
Yes, absolutely.
So that the next Black woman that comes in can see me and feel more comfortable. And I'm always, always, always open to talking to other Black women, even Black men, about what my industry entails. And I tell them the truth. It is very hard to get in this industry. It's hard to stay in this industry. Those first few years, it's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of grinding. Being from New York, there is no shortage of work as an appraiser. And we used to joke that a lot of the shops that you work in, it feels like a sweatshop sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you could have so much work on your desk. I was not sleeping.
Yeah.
I was losing my hair. I was gaining weight. I looked sick. And that was just to get the hours I needed just to get the license.
Wow.
And it takes 3 years to get the license. You're an apprentice for 3 years. And you're kind of beholden to the person that's your supervisor. So it is a grind, but that's one of the reasons that I find it's imperative to share my knowledge with my community, because after grinding, I'm finding out the information that we don't know. And I want to share that. And I want to build the confidence in people to go in those industries because they have some type of idea of what it is compared to now. Like most people don't know what an appraiser is. I spend most of my time just explaining that. Because I'll introduce myself and I'll just see the wheels turning and I'm like, do you want me to tell you what that is? You don't have to struggle. Just ask me and I'll tell you.
Exactly.
But yeah.
And that was going to be my next question. What do you have to do to like mentally prepare, professionally and academically prepare to even, come into this field? And it sounds like, especially for a woman, and that's probably with any, field that might be quote unquote, male dominated. I come from a male dominated field, Steeltoes to Stilettos, hence the name of the podcast, because I was in construction, which is a male dominated field. So, every day you're going to work being taunted and, every which way. So I can definitely understand, what that is like in the mental preparation that I would have to take this to, just to endure that, day in and day out, because it's like, like, what the freak? Like, why can't I just come do my job and go home like everybody else?
And that it's the same. It was the same for me. I can't speak for everybody's experience. I can only speak for my own. And the Black women that I have been meeting, fortunately, a lot of them have not had the same experience. I don't mean many of them. We probably all know each other at this point. But for me, it wasn't just mental. It was definitely psychological. I worked in a very toxic environment. I'm very grateful to the person who supervised me and helped me get my hours, but it was a very toxic environment for me. I was not emotionally prepared. I was not psychologically prepared. Wow. And it broke me for a very long time. Like, I had to build my confidence back, and I did not expect that to happen. I did not plan for that. I wasn't really prepared for that. Fortunately, I do have a really great family. And even though to this day they have no idea what I do, have no clue, no matter how many times I've described it, they cheer for me and they support me. So that's definitely necessary to get into this field. You can't be responsible for the big bills. I'm just going to be honest. Being a trainee, you don't get paid much. I worked my way up to the pay that I was getting because when I first started, my boss, because I was a woman, I kind of got more responsibilities than the other male trainees. So on top of being a trainee,
I can understand that.
On top of being the trainee, I was kind of the assistant office manager.
By default.
So all the little other tasks that needed to be done, he would assign them to me on top of I have to get my reports done. And he would give me the same amount of reports as everybody else. And he was very demanding. He would email at like 2 o'clock in the morning and be upset if I didn't answer before I woke up. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I see why you love Delaware. I see why you like it here. I see why.
It's so peaceful.
Wow. So we're going to get back to we're going to get back to that. We're going to come back to that. So let's move on real fast. Why is land ownership still one of the most powerful wealth building tools?
If you look at history, the Rockefellers, Eisenhower, DuPonts, when you think of those dynasties, a lot of them started off in real estate.
Really?
Yes, that's how they sustain themselves. DuPonts, if you look at they own everything in this place.
They do.
But it's the
That's
real
how they
estate.
started off.
Exactly. They might not a lot of them, not all of them started off in real estate, but eventually they would get to real estate. And that was kind of a easy vehicle to be able to build your wealth.
Yeah.
And that's something that our community is missing. We, like I said before, you can go to our communities. We don't own any of it. And I found that out becoming an appraiser in New York, because I would show up, meet the contacts. Not that I have any problem with any other community owning properties in Black neighborhoods. It's just the entire, how many years was I in New York? 3 years, 3.5 years that I was an appraiser in New York. I met one Black property owner, just one.
Really?
Just one, the entire 3 years.
Wow.
The whole time. Every other community was out here. I would meet them on inspections, no problem, but not us. In every community that I went to, all the Black communities, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, it did not matter. We owned nothing.
Really?
We owned nothing.
That is crazy.
And
that is crazy.
Looking at the effects, being from my position, I can see the real effects of it. Because it's not just understanding that we don't own anything, it's that we don't control anything because we don't own anything.
Yes.
We have a lot of bodegas, corner stores, right? They're renting those spaces. They don't own those buildings. And if they do own those buildings, it's usually a small building with retail and 2 apartments above. And they might live in one of the apartments.
Yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful. The problem is, because we don't own larger properties, we don't control our groceries. We have food deserts all over the country. We don't eat real food because I love a corner store. I love to get my chips. I used to get my little 5-cent candies, little hoagies, like y'all like to say out here. You get your hoagies and all the things. But where do you get your fruit? Where do you get your vegetables? Where do you get everything else? How do you cook if you don't have real food? So we're not cooking. We're eating just processed foods. But it all goes back to the fact that we don't own land. We don't own properties. We can't control if a grocery store is going to be here because we don't own anything. And in the event that you might put your business in a property that you don't own, you're beholden to the landlord. The landlord could say, I'm not renewing your lease. Right.
So when the lease is up, you can be out as this as well.
Yep. And everything you built, all the fixtures you put in that property, you got to leave it behind. So you can invest $100,000 in a building and then all that is gone when your lease is up.
What do you think we understand about real estate and generational wealth? What do you think,
as a community?
Yes.
I don't think we do. I don't think we do understand generational wealth. That's one of the biggest problems. We don't understand the strength we have as a community when it comes to coming together. That, I will say, is probably the most common theme I saw in the other communities that were owning properties.
They were unified.
Yes. I would go to properties and I'd be like, who's the owner? My uncle, my brother, my cousin, all these people. Family and friends, it didn't matter. They would do the due diligence to make sure their partner was a decent human being, and they would go into business with that other person. Unfortunately for our community, we've been sold the lie of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. And we believe that. We believe that we have to do all these things by ourselves. But you can save for 20 years to buy a property, or you could save for 5, partner with somebody, buy that property now, refinance that property, and buy 15 other properties. So we aren't aware of generational wealth. We don't know how to build it.
So how can we... I think this next question might connect basically what you just said too. So how can appraisal connect to equity and fair opportunity? Does that make sense?
How can appraisal... Ask it again.
How can or how does appraisal connect to community and equity and a fair opportunity?
Understanding the value that you have. that's one of the things I love when people come to me to ask me about appraisals. Appraisals are the language of commercial real estate. So understanding the value of your property, you can then be able to build a plan around it to build generational wealth. So my dad purchased residential properties. When he purchased them, my dad did not do it in terms of this is going to build generational wealth. He was like, it's an investment. Everybody, you invest somewhere and you do something. All 3 of the properties that he purchased, I sold them for 3 times what they were worth and then invested in other things that would give me residuals faster. I don't currently own commercial real estate, but I'm in the process of doing that just because of what my dad was able to do for me. The home that I own, my dad was able to do for me. But I had a plan when that money was coming to me on what I wanted to do with it. I set up with the money manager because, like I said, the easiest money to spend is the money that you do not earn. So you have to have in place, no matter how responsible you are, a plan before you touch any significant amount of money so that it's already set. You hand the person the check, you've come up with the plan, you work the plan. So it's really an understanding what the value of the property is and creating a plan to multiply it.
And it has to be a long-term plan. This is where we're talking about, again, generational wealth and longevity. This is something that our community is missing. This is bigger than just, just purchasing a home or owning a property or owning multiple properties. This is how we transition all these multiple units into generational wealth.
Yes. Because I'm not saying don't sell your property. I'm saying if you are going to sell your property, have a plan.
What you're going to do with the money once you sell the property.
Yes.
What are you going to do with the money once you sell the property?
Yes.
Invest it in bigger property.
Yes. Because you can get I'll just use an example. You can get $100,000 check. And if the down payment for 10 properties is $10,000, you just bought 10 properties. You lease those properties out in 10 months. You've just gotten your money back. And you're just using the money to pay off the loan.
Right.
So now I've gotten all my money back. What am I going to do? I'm going to take that $100,000 and buy 10 more properties and then do the same thing again.
Over and over.
Yes.
And over again.
And that's how you're using that one property and that one check to build a portfolio. And then if you get to 100 homes, single family homes, and you feel like I want to elevate to commercial, I don't want to do this anymore, sell your entire portfolio and then do the same thing in commercial. That's how everybody else does it. It doesn't always it doesn't have to be I'm holding on to this property forever. But investing in neighborhoods, investing in our own neighborhoods, knowing that because we're in them, we should be able to see the potential in those properties before developers get to our neighborhood and start buying everything and changing everything and all the things. We can do that too. One of the comments I make is there are many Black people in construction. We can build our own construction companies. You know more than the owner of the construction company. I've worked for a construction. He didn't know anything about building a building. That's how I learned. Right. Oh, I could do this. If you can do this, I can do this too.
Exactly. Okay.
But it's the bricklayers, it's the steel people, it's the framing people.
Right.
They know all the terms, all the things. You know how long a nail needs to go in here.
Yes.
The owner don't know that.
Yeah.
I can't say that for all owners, but I've met more than a few to know they don't know how to build it.
And this makes perfectly good sense. I think this is definitely, guys, a valuable conversation that you can take back and talk to your family members. You can talk to, and we all know people. We know people who are purchasing property. We got friends. We got our bros. We got sisters who we know that are, out there who are looking for property. But are they looking for property with that same mindset?
Right.
Is this the mindset that you guys have?
Right.
Right. So with this knowledge and, seeing that there is a void, in this particular area of real estate and generational wealth, and with you being in Delaware 5 years, what impact do you want to make on Delaware, but like going forward?
I want to see our communities own our communities. I want to see our communities making the same kind of long-term plans that I see other communities making for themselves. I want grandma to be sick and their money to care for her. I want you want to go on vacation or your child needs to go to college. They don't have to take out $100,000 worth of loans if you can refinance a property or you're getting income. I want parents to purchase a property for their kids as their college graduation present to start them off building their own portfolios.
Who can someone call if someone wanted to start the process from, maybe the ground? Who would they reach out to first? Say someone, let me see, let me think of a scenario or an example. Or maybe you can give me an example. Say if I come to you and I'm like, okay, I want to start this process of, generational wealth. I own, I don't own anything, but I want to make sure that the steps that I take are the right steps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no time to waste, you know what I mean? I don't want to waste any money, but I want to make sure that what I'm doing is the right thing to do and that I'm following the right guideline, the right roadmap. So when I do get to my first property, second property, like I'm not just, out here moving frivolously or, making wrong decisions. We all know that, okay, boom, we have a property and if we sell it, or when we do decide to sell it, we want to make sure we do something smart with the money. But before we even get to that point, you know what I mean? Who can we call? Who can we contact? Who can we connect to? I mean, we got Miss Brutus here now.
Shameless
definitely.
plug. Shameless plug.
Is it you?
It's me. You call
Is it
me.
the appraisal?
You call me. It's not just
Appraiser.
I own a consulting business. So because of my passion, I love to take people's hands and walking them through the process. Tell me what your long-term goals are.
Got you. Okay.
And I will connect you with the people that you want to be you need to be connected with to make that happen. So I sit down with my clients and I ask them the questions to sometimes I have to help them figure out what the dream is, because just like you said, sometimes people just have a check and they're just like, I don't want to get into real estate. So it's really about finding out where you are in life, what your future looks like for you, and then I can work that back.
Work from there.
So sometimes my advice will be buy a 4-unit property and rent and live in one of the units. So that way your housing is already covered.
Paid for, yes.
And the other 3 units are paying your mortgage.
Yes.
So you can do other things. So if that's a simple plan for you, if you decide I want to invest in neighborhoods that are neighborhoods, but I want to make them better, I want to redevelop a whole block, I can help you figure out kind of what the steps are for that, and be realistic with you. I am a dreamer. I love dreamers. And you can't tell me no. I'm an Aries. If I said I'm doing it, I've decided I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm going to find a way.
Period.
And there'll be many people that I will
that.
tell you, you can't do it or it's never been done before. That's my favorite lane. I love being the first to do it. So you come to me with a dream. I will be realistic with you about what I know. If you're able to do even better, I will be the first one to clap for you. But that's usually where I start. If I can't help you, my favorite thing to do is help you find who can help you.
Got it.
So
Got it.
If that's I have salespeople, I have attorneys, I have a couple of money managers that I could refer you to. I always encourage people to build relationships. It's not just important to get a money manager. It's important to get a money manager that you feel comfortable talking to, because you're going to be telling them everything, all your debts, all of your business. They are going to ask you everything. When you got to upload that bank statement and you looking at the transactions you done made and you know someone's going to look at them, you need to be prepared for that.
Right. And that's real life, real stuff. That's real stuff. And I think that, I feel like, people want to start to establish, generational wealth, and they want to make right financial decisions, and they want to manage their money in a way that is going to benefit them and benefit their children and their grandchildren. But some people just don't know how. They don't know how. Some people want to, step out there in real estate and, jump out there and do this, that, and the other, but they don't know how. And they don't know who to call. They don't. And I always say it's all about resources.
It is.
It's all about
It
resources
is.
and knowing how to find those resources and knowing how to, to assess those resources. And that's what one of the things that our community is missing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The resources are there, but where are they? You know what I mean? Like, where are the resources at? And I think, like you said, the gatekeeping.
Yeah, it's very much
The
gatekeeping.
gatekeeping.
It's very much
the
gatekeeping.
and that's what holds us back as a community. Do you know Dubar
Dubar.
McGriff?
No.
Okay, so they are in the process. They have a whole movement going on in North Wilmington where they want to redevelop North Wilmington and basically be able
Oh, wait,
to...
no. Yes, I do know them. Like, this is sounding familiar.
It sounded
Go ahead.
familiar now
Yeah.
because you're talking. I'm like, okay, this sounds like somebody that Doopy needs to connect with because they're in the process of doing exactly what you just said for the community. Just like buying a block back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We
I
buying
love
our
that.
blocks
Love
back,
that.
developing, new businesses, creating new opportunities, home ownership, businesses, all the things that our community is missing that other communities haven't, and that they have because they stuck together.
Yeah.
Because they stuck together and they didn't gatekeep. So, maybe are you helping them with that endeavor?
No.
Okay, maybe somebody that
I would love to,
we can
though.
connect
Like I
you guys
said,
together
yeah.
because you just never know.
I love partnering
Yeah.
with other
Yeah, you just
organizations.
never know. I'm gonna have to connect you guys and see, what you guys, how you make it help him or
Yeah.
help the whole movement. But it's a whole movement going on, and we definitely can use someone like you who can, guide us along in the process and give us the information and the jewels that we, don't know. And I think it's really interesting because you use your platform as Miss, and I don't want to say it backwards, Miss Delaware, or is it Miss
Black Delaware USA
Miss Black Delaware
2026.
USA
Yeah.
2026. Okay, I don't want to say Miss Delaware Black USA. So yeah, I think it's really creative that you use your pageant platform to use this to uplift and educate awareness around land ownership and legacy.
I love that's the best part about being in this position is that, like I said, it gives me that opportunity. I don't really know if I've never met any other pageant queen that speaks on this specific area. So
Exactly.
I think it's fun that I can use this
Yes.
platform
It's
to
very
do that.
unique. I think it's very unique. And as I was reading and, putting together the episode, and I'm like, this is going to be a really interesting episode. Like, this is going to be interesting. Interesting in a way that it's really going to be able to help someone else. And it's interesting because I think it's inspiring. It's inspiring that we get to see how you took one thing that doesn't have nothing to do with nothing. Like, your pageant does not have anything to do with land ownership. It doesn't have anything to do with real estate.
I mean, it does. I won't say, I will say I have not met anybody that has my particular platform, but this circuit, the amazing women in this circuit, like doctors, lawyers, engineers, like the women that are in this pageant, they do things. And that's one of the reasons I chose this pageant. When I was younger, I wanted to be Miss USA, Miss Universe, and all the things. And as I got older, I realized those pageants are going to expect a certain image of me that when I went natural, I'm no longer that image. The nose ring, like being myself. I didn't feel like I would be able to be myself in those circuits. So with Miss Black USA, I did my research, and it was a pageant circuit that aligned with who I was because I saw who the other contestants were in the previous years. And they were women that are movers and shakers who had platforms that directly affected our community. So it was not by accident that I chose this platform. It was very much intentional, or this circuit. It was very much intentional.
I didn't even know that there was a such thing as a Miss
Black
Delaware.
Delaware.
I didn't even know it was even a such thing.
We're
Wait, how did you come
growing
here
it.
and become Miss Black Delaware? You're not even from here. How did that happen?
Because I have the passion for it. I love Delaware. one of the hashtags I use is why Delaware, because that's like the
For
most
real?
common question. Yes. People always ask me, why did you pick Delaware? I'm like, first of all,
It's no taxes.
no taxes. When I leave Delaware and I got to pay taxes, I'm like, excuse me,
What?
sir, what is this? But also, I am of the mindset that if you are bored, you are boring. There's so much stuff to do in Delaware. If you look, I love nature. I love going to the park. The parks here are gorgeous. Brandywine Park. I love Brandywine Park.
South
Love,
Delaware.
love.
It is
Being
beautiful,
able to, it
definitely.
is.
It
You
is.
can. I always say if you want to meet someone influential in Delaware, you could just go outside. Like the amount of times you will run into Biden or the mayor of Wilmington,
True.
and
True.
they're all cool people. Who was it? Senator Blunt Rochester.
Yep, Lissa. Yep.
Every time she sees me, she gives me a hug. I'm like, I know my
Oh.
senator. I know my senator.
Oh, I like that
That's
for
not-
you. I like
That's
that.
not the life anywhere like in big cities in New York. I sit on so many boards here, and they all feed my passion. In New York, I would never be able to sit on the boards that I want to make an impact on because the line for people waiting to get on that board is long.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. I get it. I get it.
And being from Delaware, it's funny because a lot of people that are from here don't see the opportunities here because they've been here their
I know,
entire
like,
lives.
I'm sitting over here like, for real.
The
This is how you
competition
feel about
everywhere
my
else.
hometown.
Right. But this is the
This
thing.
is interesting.
Our senator has the same power as a New York senator. But her competition here is way less. Not
Yes.
saying if she was anywhere else, she wouldn't be a senator. But
I get
in New
it.
York,
It's
50
different.
people are lining up to be a senator.
Yeah.
So here, it's like if you have a passion for something, it's very hard not to be able to feed it because you can connect with the avenues you need to do it.
And it's small. It's a small state.
It is
Much
small.
more intimate.
Definitely that.
So I think that definitely works. And I think it's a case by case
Absolutely.
story or situation. But what I loved about what you just said, you pulled out a lot of positive things. Like you said, people from Delaware probably wouldn't even see it from that island.
Yeah, they don't.
So it was definitely refreshing to hear that from a state that I lived in all my life, a state that I try to probably escape from as much as possible, and not because of, just because I see a lot of opportunities outside of the state, and just by default, just living here, everybody who they always want to. If you live here, they always feel differently about where they reside. It's always home, but
Yes.
it's always like, I wish I could go live here or try this or, it's always, I want to test it out. Just like you left.
Yeah, and you
New
should.
York and you went to Philly and now you're here.
And you should explore. But you'll also hear people leaving and coming back.
Coming back, yeah.
Because you can go off to New York and have your Sex in the City dream. But after a while,
It gets
the
old.
dream's not a dream anymore
Yeah, it gets
when you
old.
realize you can't afford to have any fun. So I truly understand why people that are from here feel like boxed in. I am new in almost every room I walk in. Nobody knows me unless I've made my connections, but there are still plenty of rooms I can walk in where I'll meet new people.
Right, exactly.
When you've grown up here, every time you go to the grocery store, you run
see
into like
somebody.
15 people that you went to
Yes.
high school with.
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't have that. So it's
You don't experience none of
yes.
that. None of that. And that's so refreshing for you. You don't have to experience that. You don't have that baggage. You know what I mean? You don't have that
It's true.
emotional,
You get to reinvent yourself.
Exactly. And that's really cool. Like, that's something that's really cool for you to be able to, experience. And Delaware is very peaceful too. It is a good place to live. It's definitely, I could see myself leaving, probably if I had a chance to leave when I was younger, leaving and coming back after it was like I got everything out of my system, and now I'm ready to come back and settle down and relax. So I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, and your money goes further here.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I never saw myself raising kids in New York when I eventually get there. It's just when I was growing up, New York was very materialistic. It was very much about the labels and all the things. And people were spending a lot of money to impress strangers. And right around the time I left to go to Philly in 2016, I was over it. I I wanted to have high level conversations with people who wanted to use their money to grow. And I was meeting way too many people that would spend their entire money to impress other people.
Yeah, shallow. You wanted something of substance. You
Yes.
wanted more. You know, something that
Yes.
was way more fulfilling.
Yes.
Fulfilling. So tell us, with that being said, what does leadership look? I probably can't answer that. I feel like we got it now. But what does leadership look like? What does leadership look like for you?
For me, leadership, probably the most important part of leadership is understanding who you're trying to lead and being open to hearing them out. I don't believe in a top-down type of situation. I believe in equality. I want to I can only speak from my lens of experience. So I need you to kind of inform me of that, and then I can tell you kind of where we're going. That's how I do consulting. I tell people all the time, I'm not smarter than you. I just know more than you do in this field. And if I'm able to teach you, we're going to be just as smart together. So that's my leadership style. Listening. Yes. I love feedback. Kind of melding that into any advice I give. I don't judge. I'm very much open. So if you tell me your dream is I want a mansion in Miami, personally, would I do that? No. But if that's your dream, let's build a plan around that. And I can help you lead you there, right? So that's my goal as a leader, and seeing my community thrive. I cheer for others. I love seeing other people win. I don't have to know you. You being a part of my community is enough for me to be happy for you.
And I could tell you have that genuine, that's truly who you are, because it's no way that you can come to this state and do what you do with so much passion and, purpose behind it. So I definitely can, believe that is definitely in you, and that's who you are. So tell us about your Steeltoes moment, the gritty moment that shaped who Miss Lissa is.
The moment that shaped me, I don't even think it was one moment. I feel like I'm constantly changing, and I love the person I am now. I love the growth that I've had, but probably the biggest change was the death of my dad. That changed me significantly. It forced me to do therapy for the first time, and that's where I learned you don't have to just go to therapy because something traumatic happened to you. My therapist, amazing Black woman. I loved that I was able to find a Black woman who was also half Trini. So there was a lot of things I didn't have to explain. What it's like to be a Black woman in America, what it's like to be a Caribbean woman in America. And so we got right down to business because I didn't have to explain cultural differences.
Yes. Yeah, that was perfect.
Yes. Because there are cultural differences. Being first generation, I was living in two worlds. I wasn't Haitian enough for Haitians. I wasn't Black enough for the Black American community because I was not having the quintessential Black experience. I lived in a very, I think secular is the word, area. Everybody around me is first generation. Everybody around me is kind of immigrants. My town is a lot of Caribbeans and Latinos, and I was kind of the first one. So kind of living the quintessential Black experience for me didn't happen till college. But in terms of going back to therapy, one of the things she said is you go through your life kind of carrying baggage, but no one ever tells you how to put it down. So kind of the defense mechanisms you build as a child because you have no control over your life, you just keep building on top of that. So going to therapy allowed me to put it down. That's what I learned because I thought, in the Black community, going to see the lady is not the thing you do. You don't tell your business. You don't tell family business, all that stuff.
Lay on the altar.
Right. And even though my dad was a doctor, the man felt the same way about a therapist. It's just like, in America, to be depressed is a privilege. You can only be depressed if you're privileged. So that's kind of a mindset in the Black community. Like, you don't have time to be depressed if you have things to do. Go find something to do. As opposed to, this is a real issue. Like, we are also allowed to sit down and process our things and learn how to put them down. So that was definitely the biggest catalyst for me in my recent times, like the last few years, that helps me shape who I am now, helps me walk into rooms more confidently. And of course, working on, I don't call it healing because there's never really an end to it. It's literally just working on yourself, figuring out who you are, understanding as an adult that is the process. There's nobody that can tell you how to be an adult. You figure it out.
Yep.
So that was definitely my biggest catalyst recently, I would say.
What about your Stilettos moment? The shift that brought you into your Stilettos moment, walking into your purpose and power.
I don't even know if that was like one moment. Again, I feel like it's just been a pattern for me. Like I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to tackle the world. And there have been times, I will say, in Delaware, it gets very easy to be comfortable here in terms of getting dressed up. But putting on stilettos makes me feel powerful. Putting on shoes makes me feel powerful.
Yes. How about that?
Getting
that
dressed
part.
up. Yeah.
That part.
I recently have dedicated myself that even when I'm in the house, get dressed, feel cute for myself. And that has helped kind of inspire me to do that outside the house. It definitely has helped my confidence.
I like that for
Absolutely.
you. Yes,
me
like
too.
that.
Because my family, you wear the big t-shirt, you wear your house clothes, right?
Yep.
So putting on real clothes to walk around the house, it felt weird at first.
Yes, walking past the mirror, double back.
Right.
I look cute.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Yes.
Now I'm strutting around my house all by myself, twirling and all types of stuff. So
taking selfies.
All of it.
Videos.
I'm like, I look good today.
Yes,
like just because.
And that's what more girls should do. That's a good review tool. Yes.
I would say that's probably my current stiletto moment is finding beauty in myself and not just when I got to go outside. Like I deserve to look pretty for myself, even when I'm alone.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Love that. Now, what advice would you give another or a woman who is rebuilding and trying to find something, substantial that can last?
Rebuilding. I would say do the work of understanding yourself first. That is probably something in our community, Black women, we are conditioned to survive and to care for others, which if you look at history, you can see exactly why. A lot of our ancestors, it was all about survival, and that's in our blood. So we're kind of the first generation that has the chance to put those things down and actually look at those things. So I encourage Black women to look at those things. Mm-hmm. If there's dishes in the sink and you can't go to sleep because there's dishes in the sink, why? Like, do you have to clean the entire house before you go to sleep? Mm-hmm. Do you have to do all of your laundry before you sit down? If your feet hurt, is it wrong for you to relax yourself? So those are that would be my advice, kind of do the self-analysis about the ways in life that you're kind of just moving because you were conditioned that way, and figure out where that comes from. If you're not good with money, if you look over the history of your family, you can pinpoint where that came from. So it's the same thing with kind of how we treat ourselves. We don't notice that it's patterns that are within our family. And we just kind of perpetuate those patterns without noticing. So self-evaluation would be step one.
Yes, and I like that too. I like that you said, if you feel like there's dishes in the sink and you have to get them done before you go to sleep, why? What's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Now, if you live in a building, you don't want no roaches, okay.
That's different.
But if you live somewhere, you've never seen a roach, you've never seen a fly.
It's unnecessary anxiety, unnecessary stress that we cause on ourselves just because, like you said, we're programmed and we're conditioned to, live like that and be like that. So I really like that you said that because we need to hear that. I be having to tell myself those things too. Like, girl, if you don't get this done, like, it's okay. Like, it's all right. Slow down. Take your time. Give yourself some grace.
Give yourself grace, yeah.
Like, it's fine. So tell the people how they, no. What's next for you, first of all? What's next?
Oh, my God. So many things. So I'm currently developing a commercial real estate inspection app, which is a lot to say, but I'm in the process. Commercial real estate inspection app.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The app is coming, guys.
The app is coming. It's actually, I finished phase 1. So I'm looking for investors for phase 2. I'm working on purchasing my own property. I am hopefully, no, not hopefully, I will
You will.
own
You
a
are.
hotel in the Caribbean. That's something I'm really passionate about. My consulting business, I'm ready to take it to the next level, do more public speaking in that avenue. I also own 2 Caribbean carnival bands. So one in Delaware for Delaware Carnival in August this year, and then one in Tobago, which is a small island near Trinidad, because a lot of people don't know where that is.
Okay.
But they also have a carnival at the end of October, beginning of November, and expanding those businesses, as well as continuing to do all the public work, the community work that I do. I am executive director of Housing Helpers, which is a lease to own program. So for 4 years, our applicants lease from us. They take different classes on budgeting, and we assist them with kind of elevating themselves career-wise to make more money. So by the time the 4 years are done, all of the money that you spent on rent, we've saved that up, and that is your down payment for a conventional loan.
Nice.
Right. Minus repairs and maintenance of the house. But we strive to sell you the house for maybe a little bit less than what it's worth to kind of start you off with equity. We teach you how to care for your home, because a lot of times people don't know all the things that go into maintaining a house. It is work. You can't just buy a house and leave it. You have to have money on the side if the roof goes or the boiler. So we teach that as well. What else do I do? I'm currently on the Newcastle County Planning Board, so I'm really excited about that. Learning kind of all the ins and outs of how we make the decisions on what to build and what that entails. I feel like that's going to also help my mission of helping my community understand how real estate works, because I want to understand how it works from the government side as well.
Yes.
And on top of everything, I am currently getting my master's in commercial real estate from Georgia State University. So that is a snippet, because that's just all I can remember.
That was a snippet?
That's all I can remember right now.
Ooh, geez, Louise.
I love being busy, though. We talked about this. I'm busy, but I love being busy. And I still...
It's powerful, though. It's powerful. It's very admirable.
Thank you. I still make time for my friends and family.
Yes, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
I love this. And our Black women, our Black sisters, this is perfect. I love this for you.
Thank you.
And you're like, I love being busy.
I do. I don't understand when people say they're bored. I'm like, go do something.
Go do something.
Go
do something.
Fix the world. Like, go do something.
Well, Lissa. It's not Lisa. It's Lissa.
It's Lissa. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Steeltoes to Stilettos couch. Again, I am very excited for this episode and for this conversation, because so many Jews drop such valuable information. And this conversation was a reminder that rebuilding isn't, always emotional. Sometimes it's economical. Sometimes it's legacy. Sometimes it's leadership. Sometimes it's rebuilding land. And I love that you are showing up for women and empower, and you're coming with knowledge, and it's so impactful, and that you were here in Delaware with us. So thank you so much for joining us on the couch. And y'all make sure y'all follow Lissa. Make sure y'all support her journey. Keep these conversations going of, generational wealth and generational awareness. Social medias, anything like that.
So the easiest way to find me is I have an Instagram page with my name, LISSAE, Brutus, BRUTUS. That will lead you to all my other ventures.
And we'll have all the information in the captions and in the descriptions. But thank you so much for joining us. This has been Another dope episode of Steeltoes to Stilettos, everybody. This is March Women's History Month, so we're starting the month off right. It's all about resilience and strength, power and purpose. I am your girl, Cheris Monique, the hostess with the mostest, your favorite confidence coach, and we are out.
That was fun.
That was fun. Yes, that was good. Like, I'm gonna be calling you because this is. I need a consultation. I'm trying to buy some. I'm trying to buy a house. I'm trying to do a couple of things. But
You see this overwhelmed feeling you have? That's why you come to me. We gonna
yes,
sit down,
exactly.
calm it down.
Exactly. When I was like, well, when I was saying, well, what do we do? Like, is there a person we contact? Who do we call? I was talking for